This is Gary Kayye. It's day 3 at InfoComm 2013 here in Orlando, and it's been a phenomenal show. And I don't know how I snagged TJ Trojan from Synnex, but he's willing to sit down with me for a few minutes. Well, first of all, great party last night.
Yeah, thank you.
That was great time. It was. They had it at the ice bar, and the ice bar has this freezing cold, literally frozen room in there where they serve you drinks, and it was a really great novelty.
And it was 97 degrees outside, so
it is Orlando.
Yeah,
it is Orlado.
It was a cool party.
It was very cool, and it didn't end until very late, so a lot of people had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So what I would like, what I'd like to add, well, first of all. You've added a few new lines recently, and I think that, it's clearly a little bit focus on audio with Bosch.
Yeah, absolutely. We announced a relationship with Bosch yesterday, and we're launching this month. So really, the focus with Bosch is both on physical security and their audio, as well as their communication products.
Yeah, and also you added Promethean.
We've had Promethean for a while. As you know, Promethean has been sort of direct-to-dealer for a long time. They engaged us about a year ago to expand their business in the corporate environment, and we just announced that we're going to also help them expand their business in the education space.
Okay, so that's the focus of the new Promethean agreement.
It is, and the great thing is the economic situation has really improved, and there's a few states that have surpluses for the first time. And if you see any quotes from any governor, they'll talk about the fact that the first place they're going to spend money is education, and we're seeing, even the projector business recently has seen an uptick, which is unusual. And actually, we just finished a record quarter in projectors, and a lot of that is a result of the rebound on the education spending. So that's great.
That's actually a really good sign. I was going to ask you about segments of the market that you see that are growing, and that's interesting to hear that projectors are. Digital signage has been a pretty healthy market for a while, but projection in digital signage really hasn't had a big stronghold there. So what areas of projection are growing? Like what market segments?
Well, the integration space continues to grow. So the 3,000 plus lumens is still growing. If you look at the market research, it'll tell you that projection business is not going to continue to grow going forward, but we're actually forecasting growth. We see that another announcement we recently made is our focus on the 21st century education, and so we really see projection being a big part of that convergence. So if you go into a boardroom or if you go into a classroom, you're going to see mobility, you're going to see projection, you're going to see digital signage, and you're going to see it all integrated. So there's opportunity there.
And so what market segments besides, obviously, education is kind of an interesting, you happen to be in one of those states, by the way, that does have a surplus in South Carolina, so that's nice.
I was reading California had a surplus, which is amazing, right?
I haven't read that, but that's amazing if they do, because they were in bad shape a couple of years ago. But so obviously the government's going to spend money on themselves and on education first. Yep. But what other market segments? Physical security obviously is starting to pick up because of all the stuff going on that we don't like to talk about.
Yeah, well, physical security. There's a lot of markets. It's interesting. One of the markets we think that might be growing, maybe an opportunity, is if you see the 4K cameras coming out, 4K displays in the security environment, Department of Defense, transportation. We think those are big opportunities. And the video over IP is happening very quickly. Cloud is a big investment for us. Health. We have about a $400 million health care practice, so that's a big opportunity really for all of these different digital signage, physical security, projection, 4K. So there's lots of opportunities. The market's not growing that much, but there are pockets and segments in vertical market practices where you'll see continued growth, and we're making some big bets in some of those vertical market practices.
But you guys are growing even though the market's not growing, because more and more integrators are starting to use distribution, because not only does it help with them to get products that they normally wouldn't be able to get, but sort of in a way you're kind of a bank.
Yeah, well, to a certain extent, we like to think of our relationship with the AV integrators, and I would like to say that this is my favorite show of the year. So I go to the IT shows, and I've been in the IT and the AV business for 28 years now, but I really enjoy being here and being with our customers here because it reminds me of the early days of the business where relationships were important. And it's interesting because we've invested in a lot of infrastructure. We have somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 people that are focused on the AV industry, and we have CTS capabilities. All of our salespeople are CTS trained. We have CTSD on staff. We got command and control capabilities on staff. But most of our AV partners don't really need that. Right. But what we're helping the AV integrators do is expand their business into the IT space, take advantage of the convergence going out there. So, even though we have expertise in AV, so do all of our AV integrators. What we want them to do is understand networking and IP, and also help them. They have great relationships with customers in AV. So what we'd like to do is say, hey, why don't you take that customer and expand your practice and portfolio of products, and we can provide training and support in some of the vertical market practices on both the IT and the AV side to help grow their business. But it's great to be here and spend time with these customers because relationships are important to these guys. And by the way, they appreciate the help, and they're getting used to distribution. We like to think of distribution as direct plus. So what manufacturers are not good at is providing time and place and logistics and warehousing. These guys don't want a warehouse product anymore. That's bad use of capital for them. So if they can buy a product from me and get it tomorrow, that's a lot more efficient for them. But if we can also help them grow their business by providing subject matter expertise in areas that they don't have expertise, then we can also help grow their business as well. So we can help them on the logistics side, we can help them with capital, and we can help them expand their business in new practices with our subject matter experts.
Yeah, and most distributors in the AV market actually don't have the IT product line that you guys have. I mean, you have an amazingly wide range of IT products because that's where your company's sort of roots are from.
Yeah, Synnex has been around for over 30 years. Last year we did $10.3 billion in sales, so we're a pretty big company, but I think we act like a small company. And I think, this really is an evolution of distribution. We have over 50 vertical market practices and platforms, several in the AV, Pro-V, custom installation, physical security space where a lot of our partners here are focused. But I think we kind of act like a small company as well because, we have a value-added strategy in the vertical space, and we have dedicated support and sales and service around these vertical market practices. It's sort of like having a value-added distributor under the big umbrella of a broadline distributor.
Yeah. So, Synnex has do you have a lot of educational opportunities? I mean, you just had I think you just had the Visual Solve, not the Visual Solve, but the Varnex event recently. But every year you guys put on an annual, I don't know what you call it, a national conference every year in South Carolina. That's coming up, in October of this year?
Week of October, yeah. We'll have about 400 AV, IT, and CE partners out there. It's a 3-day show, and a lot of great content by both the manufacturers and by consultants and experts outside of Synnex. And we don't not only talk about technology, but also help them with business practices. Varnex is really an example of one of our communities, and really our AV business is like a community. Right. So we find like-minded resellers, and Synnex actually works with over 20,000 different integrators. And what we do is we find like-minded integrators. So if your focus is health, we have a team that just focuses on maybe about 1,000 integrators that their primary business is health. I have a team that's focused on just document management. That 90% of their business is focused on document management, so we have a dedicated team of experts. Varnex is really focused on value-added resellers, solution providers that are really focused on the small to mid-market. But if you look at these 300 or so dealers, I think they represent close to $1 billion in business, right? So so the nice thing is if we can help and support communities around vertical market practices or platforms, they can network. So a lot of these guys are small, but they may land a huge deal, and through networking through these communities, they have the opportunity to say, hey, I know you. I'm in South Carolina, but I know you through Varnex or through Visual Solve in California. I have this customer. Let's work together to support this customer because I don't have the bandwidth to support regions outside of my specific regions.
Yeah, so it's a networking event and an education educational event. Plus, it has a small trade show.
It's a small trade show, and also we also provide business practice support. So we actually leverage some of the scale that Synnex has when it comes to freight and other HR benefits, and provide that to our customers as well.
Yeah, I actually attended the event the last 2 years in a row, and it's sort of like a mini InfoComm, but it's also very focused as opposed to having it has a lot of different educational classes, but they're also focused on very set vertical markets. Yep. And what you do is you alternate. What's interesting is you alternate between the manufacturer training and the subject matter expert training and the business training. Yep. So it's well organized. To find out more information about Synnex and all that, you can go to synnex.com. synnex.com. Have you had a chance to walk the show floor at all?
I have. I think I've had in about 2.5 days about 40 different meetings. So yeah, I've been back and forth on the trade floor several times.
Well, is there anything that's caught your eye that we should look out for?
My interest really is in 4K, and what we believe is it's going to be, early on it's going to be application based. Yeah. I don't see this as a big consumer move because, the bandwidth is going to be a problem, and current HDMI is going to be an issue. But when you look at very specific opportunities around physical security and broadcast and health, I think there's going to be some, good profit and margin opportunities.
Yeah, certainly an overriding theme of the show is the fact that 4K is everywhere. Yeah. I don't know if you had a chance to go look at the Christie 4K 60 hertz. I was very impressed with that, and of course the Sony OLED 4K. But yeah, it is everywhere. And but you mentioned 4K cameras. I haven't actually seen a 4K camera, so I'm actually excited to actually see one. So I'm going to try to find one today.
Yeah, I did see one. I can't remember where it was, but there's a couple of them out there.
Yeah, that'll be interesting because you look at it, security, the aspect of things. That's a big deal, and there's a true application for 4K.
Absolutely.
So, look, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today. Congratulations on your success. And again, if you want to find out more about Synnex and interested in becoming an integrator who are a dealer that buys through distribution through Synnex, you can go to synnex.com, synnex.com. This is Gary Kayye. I've been meeting here with TJ Trojan, who runs the Visual Solve group for Synnex. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, take care.